Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in Arizona. Now I know we see this ship a lot during live streams, but we very rarely see me upload a tier 5 replay to the channel. Just a standalone replay. But that's what we got for you today. It's going to be a fun one in the Arizona. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And we are spawning in on North, and because it's tier 5, we are actually put in a position where we don't really have a good look. We're all the way as west as, or east as east gets, right? So we're gonna have to fight our side of the map. But not only that, but we're also bottom tier in this match, and so we're gonna have to do everything we can to stay as useful as possible as a slow dreadnought that you guys know is fully capable of just going off at any moment. Now, right off the bat, we have a Tennessee. I don't want to take a shot directly at the bow of a Tennessee. I want to wait. And we're rewarded immediately with a broadside Makarov. We go ahead and take a shot at the Makarov. Makarov recognizes that we take a shot, and he turns in. It's a crazy concept, I know. I feel like if that was level, or if that was a tier 7 ship or higher, they would have just sailed in a straight line and gotten dev struck, because that's what cruiser commanders do. I don't know what it is about tier 5, but I swear people seem to have more situational awareness at tier 5 than they do at legendary tier and tier 7. It can be ridiculous at times. But yeah, you can see I'm looking right at this Tennessee because I was anticipating him taking a shot at me. So we're already trying to turn in. He gets a really good shot on us, but could have been much worse if we hadn't already started to turn in. We get a much better salvo against him, so between the two of us, I definitely got the better of that exchange. Now, you can see Makarov is not just like sailing around willy-nilly. He's trying to like get out of the line of fire for the most part. But I'm looking at this Tennessee again. He's not even looking to shoot me this time. We're gonna try to get the front guns and then the rear guns, or the rear guns and then the front guns, whichever way it was. But we get a good shot on him, and unfortunately, just the first set of shots that we took hit. The second shot, not so much. Now, unfortunately, there is a smoke screen directly off my bow, which usually means bad news for a battleship, right? So we go in here, we we jump in the cap. That's going to delay them from capturing the base. We also have a destroyer next to us. So hopefully, between the two of us, we'll be able to do something here. Now, this turn is definitely not one that I would like to do very often, because there's so many people. Now, that destroyer got spotted right as I went to take that shot, so unfortunately, I didn't see it in time. But you can see triple fired in one salvo from a Queen Elizabeth. And then another ship hits me, and I don't know which one that was. I think it was another Queen Elizabeth, actually. But yeah, this is not a good situation. We have a destroyer right here in front of us. We have a Queen Elizabeth. And you can see there's the torpedoes. So we have to pay attention to what's going on. We have to anticipate what's going on. And we do manage to get angled. So didn't take as much damage as we could have taken. Mayhem gets himself spotted. So we're going to fire the rear turrets of Justice and Truth at him. And get terrible RNG. But we still managed to land 2 shells. Now we are trying to kite away at this point because we were able to successfully chase their destroyer out of the cap. And then we were able to force the enemy battleships to kite. Now look at this North Carolina coming around the corner here. Like, he is flat broadside, not a care in the world. Okay? And unfortunately for him, it doesn't matter because he's a dead man. He takes all of the torpedoes, gets smacked in the broadside, and then we reach out and we finish him off. Well, I lied. Yuga finishes him off. But Akatsuki's currently spotted. He's less than half his hit points. But this game is actually going to get out of hand pretty quick here. The enemy has the advantage. They have more ships than us. But we currently have the cap advantage, at least until the Akatsuki grabs our cap. But we've got a Nagato coming around the corner here. Another tier 6 battleship. But again, another tier 6 battleship who's just intent on sailing broadside. Like, not a care in the world. He's so focused on that carrier that we just absolutely mangle him. Remember, tier 6 battleship versus tier 5 battleship. You sail broadside, it doesn't matter what your tier is, okay? You're gonna get clapped. And by the time he gets his guns around to shoot us, it'll be too late for him. It'll be back to port. So I don't even know if we're gonna get loaded again. You can see I'm already looking at Tennessee, expecting that the Nagato's gonna go down. We are still getting shot at by the guys on the back side of the map. But notice how we didn't chase those guys, right? We went into the cap, we chased them off, we backed off, and now they are having to try to re-engage. So we don't want to turn in and commit to the turn because we have a Tennessee shooting at our broadside, but we also have 2 other battleships behind us shooting at our broadside if we start to commit to that turn. So here you can see I'm just trying to keep the guns on target. I know I should reload before he gets his guns reloaded because he fired last. So we're going to try to aim a little higher here. Up about halfway up his ship, and now we are committed to the turn. I don't think that either of those 2 battleships have the range to shoot us, and I want to get angled in before these shells get here from the Tennessee. And we do. So we take very little damage from him. The destroyer is spotted in the cap. Our destroyer is sitting right next to him. Still. And you can see that the enemy battleships are starting to get back into a position where they are a threat. The Tennessee is pushing towards me now, which is leaving him wide open for our carrier to finish off, but carrier doesn't need to because the Yuga gets him. Now, just like, span of a minute and a half, the enemy team went from winning this game to losing this game. It's that quickly. A couple of people making bad plays where they just sail flat broadside, not paying attention to the mini-map or who has their crossfires, like nothing. Just a couple of people, and you can completely undo everything that your team has been able to accomplish in short order. It's crazy. And that's why I think that Tier 8 Legendary Tier tends to be so brutal. It's because at those tiers, mistakes like these guys made are usually death. Like, there is no pass go, no collect $200. If you're broadside to a Yama, a Montana, a Ohio, like anything really, at Legendary Tier, you're going to get ruined. Even the cruisers. I mean, just think of the cruisers. Worcester will be hitting you for 8,000 to 10,000 damage a salvo with AP. The Des Moines will be citadeling you in a battleship if it's close enough while you're broadside. Mino, same thing. Mino will just absolutely shred you. So you can't make those mistakes, which is why we get so frustrated at those higher tiers when people make these goofy mistakes, because at lower tiers it's expected, right? Like, you're going to make some mistakes at lower tiers, but by the time you get to the higher tiers, you should be relatively, understanding of the basics. Because if you're not, and this is why I always tell people to not rush to get to the higher tiers, take your time, learn the ships, learn the basics of the game, and use those to your advantage, because you'd be surprised how many people don't understand the basics of this game. Normandy, on the other hand, isn't one of those. Normandy, we do catch him here broadside, so we take advantage of that, and we punish him brutally for it. Well, we don't citadel him, but we hit him for 6 full penetrations and over 16,000 damage in that salvo. But other than that, he's done a decent job of negating damage, but he hasn't been all that useful because we kited away and he's spent the rest of this game trying to get into a position where he can shoot things. Whereas, even though we kited away, we were able to maintain shots at his teammates and at, whatever we could to affect the game. And that is a balance that even like average players that understand the basics, learning the balance between kiting away when you need to and staying engaged with the enemy is a big deal in this game. You've got to learn that when you're kiting away, it isn't just to run away forever, and you should be withdrawing with a plan, right? Like, if you're having to kite away, you should have a plan. What is your out, right? So you've got to think about this stuff. And a lot of times we get caught in the moment in tunnel vision. You guys have seen me do it a million times on streams. You can see me get tunnel visioned and get caught by people that I just didn't see. I mean, just go back and watch that ranked battle stream not too long ago, where I rolled around the corner 2 different games, not even that far apart from each other, and got absolutely blasted by a Flaunder because I just wasn't paying attention to him. I knew he was over there. I'd seen him over there and earlier in the match, but he got further than I expected, and I wasn't expecting him to pop up on my broadside. So it happens to everybody. You'll never outgrow it, but the better you get at the game, the more understanding you have of the game, the less those plays are going to happen. Because you're going to start to notice when you're doing it and avoid that more often than you do currently. But Normandy turns full broadside, unfortunately does end up taking the Monahan's Torps. And so, not the greatest game in the world. 113,000 damage. We still have a carrier out here. But I thought it was a fun one to showcase. Like, it's okay to recognize that you've kind of overextended and then having to try to withdraw. And then as you're withdrawing, still maintaining presence in the battlefield, right? And it's easier to do on a map where it's a smaller map, obviously. But overall, you saw the difference between those 2 battleships and me. Who was more effective in this match? Those 2 battleships that turned away from me, or me turning away from them and then still helping absolutely rip apart his teammates? It's a give and take. You gotta balance your aggression, and it's something I don't do very well because I tend to play for entertainment value, and so I tend to play way aggressive, way more aggressive than most people, which is why I always tell people, don't always try to emulate what I'm doing, because most of the time it's gonna end up with you just being miserable. But also, don't just be completely useless hiding behind an island the entire game, not doing the things you need to do. Now this shot, I thought I had this guy dead. I mean, look at that. How can we not get a single Citadel? 8 out of 12 shells landed on target, and not a single Citadel. Just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But at least we got all the damage, so there's that. And we ended up with a decent game. It's not a crazy game, but 135,000 damage, Confederate high caliber, top of the leaderboard as a bottom tier ship. Did our job. So let me know down in the comments below, have you guys ever seen yourselves in positions where you have to kite away and yet you still manage to find yourself useful to your team? Or do you, like those other 2 battleships, find yourself when you kite away suddenly realizing that you just don't have anything to shoot for 5 or 6 minutes? Let me know. I'm interested. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.